Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. And welcome. Good morning. Hello. Welcome to Immigration Friday. Please let me know if you can hear me. Good morning. Yeah, I'm going to be here for about 30 minutes. And my name is Rumbi from Tulia. And every Friday, we do a question and answer Immigration Friday with questions that we have from people. Some are sent to us over the week, and some questions will be in the chat. So if you've got any questions, please put them in the chat. Ask anything that you'd like to know about, which is related to UK immigration law. So my name is Rumbidzai Vunzawabaya, and I am a solicitor. I work at Tulia. Tulia is an organization that is based in Coventry. However, we serve people right across the UK. Most of our work is done remote, over the phone, emails, and we deal with people from Scotland right down to Southampton, Bournemouth, and also people who are abroad who are intending on coming to live in the United Kingdom. So I've been a solicitor for 25 years, qualified in Zimbabwe and then admitted in England in 2003. So a solicitor in the UK for 20 years and a legal practitioner in Zimbabwe. So this is an area that we have been working in for a long time. And one of the things that our organization, Tulia, does is to provide information, it's to is to educate, is to bring to disseminate information to people. So lives are a very good way of doing that, and it's one of the things that we do. So thank you, Eve. You're in Cornwall, so yes, we reach people in Cornwall, in Wales, in everywhere. So thank you for that, and coming back. Thank you so much. So yeah, so I've got some questions that we've got here, and I'm going to answer those. And I've got a question from Sunshine. She says, I'm renewing my 2.5 years, which is on the 10-year route. How are the prices now? Thank you so much for that, and I will answer that. And we've got quite a lot of information on our website. If you could head over there and bookmark our website, which is www.tulia.org.uk. Also on our YouTube channel, if you go onto our YouTube channel, press subscribe and watch out for videos which have got most of the answers to questions that you might have. Follow us as well on Instagram and on Twitter, and on Facebook, here where you are today. So the fees for the 10-year route to settlement. Thank you for that question, and I will actually just start with that for Sunshine. Thanks for asking that question. So when you're on the 2.5-year route, your extension costs £1,052. I think off the top of my head, I think £1,052 plus the NHS surcharge, the Immigration Health Surcharge, IHS, which is £564 a year, and so it's for 2.5 years. So your fees, my maths is not so good, but those are the fees. But the best place to go is always the gov.uk website. Look up immigration fees, and you'll be able to get the exact amount on the website. However, if you are unable to afford the fees, if you are not able to afford the fees because it comes up to about 2.6, so 2,700 approximate round ballpark figure for extension. So that's a lot of money. And if you're just extending with your family, it's a lot of money. So you can apply for a fee waiver. Don't hesitate to apply for a fee waiver. Don't hesitate to apply for a fee waiver, because a fee waiver, you have to demonstrate your income, your expenditure, and sources of income. So if you don't have enough money, say you're earning every month, you're earning about, after tax, 1.5, and you're paying your bills, there's a cost of living crisis, the Home Office has to review and see whether you're entitled to a fee waiver or not. So definitely apply for a fee waiver, see if you can get the fees waived. Sometimes the Home Office will waive the immigration health surcharge and you have to pay the Home Office fees, or sometimes they'll waive all of it. And we've seen that the Home Office is now responding very quickly. They're making the decisions quickly. The system has become much easier. So anyone who's on the 10-year route to settlement, please remember that you are allowed to, you should apply for the fee waiver if you don't have sufficient funds. We are in a cost of living crisis, and money is difficult to come by. So raising that 2,700, it's a lot of money. Every 2.5 years to save it, to be able to apply, it's quite challenging. So please apply for the fee waiver. I'm going to ask somebody from Tulia to share the link for you, Sunshine, in the chat, so that you can apply for the fee waiver. If you have difficulty, you can book into our free 15-minute consultations. We can try and assist you into how to fill it in and how to apply. If you qualify, if you go onto our website, we also do offer free legal advice and representation for people who are destitute, or people who do not have the means to apply. We just do like a means assessment, and we may be able to assist you. So you can go onto our website and have a look, and we can try and help you, Sunshine. So that's what we do. We try and to keep people in status. We don't want you to bury your head in the sand and think it's too much, I can't afford it, and you end up illegal. So definitely come, and one of our team will be able to help you, and we'll put a link onto the website. Contact us and see if we can help you. We help a lot of people who are unable to pay for applications, who they find the application process too complex, and they're in a space where it feels overwhelming, and the immigration process is quite overwhelming, and it can be. So it's something that we do, and we're so grateful to organizations that support us to enable us to do the work. So we've got supporters and sponsors who enable us to be able to give advice for free to people who need it, to represent people, to make sure that people stay in status. So that's one of the things that is very important for us to be able to do. So thanks, Sunshine, for asking that question, and do reach out if you need more help. So next, I've got a question here from Tanyara Zwastole, and thank you for asking. So the question is, my question is, say you move to the UK on a student visa, on a scholarship with one of the UK universities. Upon completion of the course, are you forced to go back to your country of origin? If not, how much time are you given to switch to the work visa, and how much is the cost? And other information associated with that will also be appreciated. Thank you for that question, Tanya Radzwa. So if you are a student, you can go on to the, you're given, after you finish your course, you are allowed to work for 2 years. So you're allowed to apply to be able to work on the scheme for graduates. So you're given a period of time, as long as you pass your course, to be able to apply for a visa, to get work experience, and to be able to work in the UK for 2 years. So you don't have to go back. But if you want to switch to a skilled worker visa, you can do that. But you've got to plan and prepare and make your applications before the expiry of your visa. So that you've got enough time, because once your visa expires, you're given a grace period of 14 days. And in that 14 days, that's when you have to leave the country or go back to your country of origin or make another application. So it's important for you not to wait, but to start planning, even right at the beginning of your studies, to know what do you want to do. You've always got the graduate visa where you're able to work, which is a bonus and a big advantage, but you can also go onto the skilled worker visa. So Tanyaradzwa, the benefit of going onto a skilled worker visa from a student visa is that you start working towards your indefinite leave to remain. Our organization is called Tulia, which means to settle. And that's the aim, to get indefinite leave to remain. That's the aim, and to get settlement so that you're secure in your stay in this country. So when you're on the skilled worker visa for 5 years, after 5 years, you can then apply to settle for what's called permanent residence or indefinite leave to remain. However, if you go on to the graduate scheme where you work for 2 years, that doesn't count towards your 5 years for settlement. So it's beneficial to switch onto the skilled worker visa earlier rather than later. So I hope that helps you, Tanyaradzwa, with your question. Thank you. That's great. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, everyone. I had seen another question here. Oh, so Rudo, your brother applied for his wife's visa and the Home Office replied that they used the wrong code. They said you can withdraw the application in 10 days, otherwise they'll make a decision. He withdrew the application. When he applies again, should he pay the health surcharge or are they going to get a refund? So they should get a refund of the immigration health surcharge. If they don't, they need to chase that up. But when they make the fresh application, they may have to pay again because the immigration health surcharge that they paid, it's attached to that old application. But the refund should come through. If they haven't had a refund, they need to chase it up. But when they make the new application, then they have to pay again. Yeah? So I hope that answers that. So your colleague, Mai Shema Tipa, the spouse akapewa 2-year visa instead of 5. So they need to write to the Home Office to ask and to challenge the discrepancy of why she was given 2 years and not leave in line with the husband. So it looks like an error, and errors happen all the time. So if it's a mistake, they should challenge it, ask, and then try and get the correct visa. So they will do it. But with the Home Office, you have to email them, write to them, chase them, and you have to persevere to get what you want. So even if it's a mistake, it's a struggle sometimes to even get a response. So you need to communicate with them, write to them, email them. If you see that you're not getting a response, always go to your local member of parliament. So the member of parliament is very good. Most members of parliament are good. They've got a casework team who support the constituents in the area. So your MP is a very good person to go to with problems that you have. The members of parliament, your MP, is there to serve you, the constituents, the people who vote. They're there for you. So when you have a problem with a body, like a public body that is government run, like the Home Office, then you can go to your local member of parliament and ask them to help you, to say, they've given me the wrong visa time and we need help to communicate with them because they're not replying. So the MP will write to the team that deals with MP inquiries, and they will respond to them, and then they'll tell you what's been said. So it is helpful. So utilize that service. It's available for you. So where you've written to the Home Office and you're trying by yourself and you're not getting a response, go to your MP. They will help you and they'll write to the Home Office. Or you can also make a complaint if you don't get a response. But the Home Office is overwhelmed with work. It's a body that is always got backlogs, and you'll see in the press. So they don't respond very quickly. They do try sometimes, but traditionally it's a problem. So even to get an error fixed, it can be a problem. So definitely involve your local member of parliament. So that's great. Thank you for that question. So Nadia, and this is more for Zimbabwean people, isn't it? That on the driver's license conversion, that's a problem. It's a big problem, and I understand that the Zimbabwean embassy has been engaged in this to try and help to find a solution to it, where they're requesting the blue receipt given when you initially get a license. So you would have to engage with the body in Zimbabwe who gives the licenses to get an alternative to that blue receipt if you don't have it anymore. And I think it's because of so much that has been happening, so many driver's licenses and, you know, corruption and things like that. So they want to verify to make sure that people are actually have got a valid license. So you would need to engage with the officials in Zimbabwe. The Zimbabwean embassy is not being, I think they can't help. So on that one, I don't actually have an answer, but I do know that it's a problem, and it's something where you would need to do that. Sunshine, yes, the 15 minutes is free. So yeah, that's great. Yeah, the DVLA issue is a big issue. It's a big issue causing a lot of problems for people. So definitely that's something. I'm going to answer some of the questions that we've received from the WhatsApp group. So hi to anyone who's on the WhatsApp group for switching. There are 5 WhatsApp groups where people support each other on questions. They help each other to switch. I'm not on the groups, but they're there, and there's a lot of information that people share, especially people who are here and they're not able to switch. So I'll ask someone to please share a link to the WhatsApp group so that you can join if you want to join the WhatsApp group. It's a great place where people share a lot of information, challenges, new jobs, and there's a lot of discussion that goes on. So there's some questions from the people who are on the WhatsApp group today. So I'm just going to make sure I answer those as well. So thank you. We want to ask if it's possible for someone who has tier 2 visa to get part-time job for cleaning, but still working with their sponsor. So someone who is on a skilled worker visa can get another job, a part-time job, in the same occupation code. So you know you have an occupation code that is a standard occupation code. So if you're working as a carer, say your code is 6145, you can get another job, a part-time job in that same code to work. So a cleaner will not be in the same code. So officially you wouldn't be able to get a job in that sector. You would need to be able to get a job in the same sector. So I hope that answers that question. And I want to know if it's possible to apply for a visa for yourself and a dependent turning 18 before applying for the father. Married with marriage certificate. Does it make a difference if COS has employer taking care of dependents? So there's quite a lot of questions in that about children. So is it possible? Yes, it's possible. Yes, it's possible. It's easier to apply for the whole family. So if your husband does intend to come here, it's better just to apply for everyone at the same time. Even if they want to come here a little bit later, come in and go back, still just apply for everyone together. But if they don't want to, then you would need to explain why. So some children, for example, the child's been living with their mother in Zimbabwe. Father works in South Africa and doesn't live with the children and has never lived with them, but you're still married. But the mother wants to migrate with the children here to the UK. So you have to explain the circumstances, explain who's been looking after the children, explain the history of your family and why it's important for the children to come, what are the wishes and feelings of the children, what's in the best interest of the children, and show your particular circumstances. So there has to be a why. And if there's a good enough reason, if father travels, if his job doesn't enable him to look after the children, all of that information is important for the Home Office to be able to make a decision. So yes, you can, but it's important for you to front load and explain your situation. And I think that is one of the errors that I'm seeing in a lot of people's applications for the children. That people submit what is required, but don't submit anything extra. So if you've been looking after your children, and I think this will answer another one of the questions, you've been looking after them ever since the father left you when the children were 2 years and 1 year, and you've been a single mom effectively. But now when you're coming to apply, you go and look for the father. You spend a lot of money searching for him so that he can support the application. But you don't need to do that. You need to demonstrate sole responsibility. So if you have been responsible for the children, then show it. Explain to them, but he left me pregnant, or he left me when the children were 2 years old. He's married, I don't even know where he is. And don't go looking for someone. Get a problem. Because if you don't know where he is, you don't know where he is. And there's many single moms. So I see people struggling to find someone. And then that now causes problems for the visa for the children. Going to look for someone who then says, pay me. Can you imagine? Pay me so that our children can go with you to where you're working. And your own children can have a better life. But you want to be paid for that. Don't look for trouble. So if they've never been there, they've never been there. Show that I'm the parent who's been there. I'm the one who's paid the school fees. I'm the one who wakes up every morning, gets them ready for school. I'm the one who makes sure they've got food to eat. I'm the one who pays the bills. I'm the one, there's nobody else. He hasn't been here. So you would have to demonstrate that with evidence. And I think that's where a lot of moms fall short in their applications, because they look for that magic letter from the father, but that letter now the Home Office will say, so they must stay there with their father. But the father's never been there. So it causes a lot of problems. So before you make those applications, definitely seek advice and about what is your situation. So that's a question that I always ask. What's your situation? What has been the situation on the ground? What does it mean to have sole responsibility? And what evidence do you need to get? So I've done a live just purely on that topic. It's on our website and on our YouTube channel. So if you have that question, I've answered it before in detail. But I just want to stress that for this question here, that I hope that makes sense. Why does the father not want to come now? What will happen to the children? So you have to demonstrate and show your reasoning. And does it make a difference if the employer has not ticked on maintenance? If the employer has not ticked on maintenance, then you have to show your bank statements to show that you have the sufficient funds to support your family. So there's some employers who don't tick maintenance, and you have to show that you've got a bank statement with sufficient funds for yourself. But similarly, if they don't tick maintenance for your family, you also have to demonstrate that you've got sufficient funds. And the Home Office also asks, where are the children going to live? They ask about your accommodation, childcare even. How are you going to look after the children? So they're interested to know about the welfare of the children. And the reason for this is because, you know, when children are coming, they want to know that move is right for the children. It's in the best interest for the children. So all of that information is relevant in order for a decision to be made for you. Great. I'm reading some more of the questions. Somebody's asked this question, which is a nice question. It's different. I would like to ask if it's possible for a carer, before completing their 3-year visa stay, to study using government funds, for example, to do NVQ. So carers can do an NVQ. They can do an NVQ, but it has to be paid for. So you wouldn't be able to get the government funding only after you've lived here for 3 years. So before that, your employer can pay or you can pay. So it's very important. It's good to get the NVQ, and I'm glad that some people are actually thinking of that, because it's important, you know, to be able to do that. It helps you. So if your employer doesn't have funding to pay for you, you can pay for yourself, but you don't get the government funding before the 3 years. They're quite strict about that. I haven't seen them making exceptions. So the last question that I'm going to answer today is again about children. That somebody's asked a question that I wanted to know: what's the best way to go about bringing your kids here when the father is not in compliance with it? He's not involved, does not take care of the kids, he has ultimatums about kuvuma kwake. How can I go about it lawfully? So if the father is involved in the children's life, he's aware of your plans, and he's refusing, the easiest, the best way is for you to go to court to get an order from the judge, an order from the court to say that mom has got full custody of the children, mother is allowed to migrate with the children to UK where she's working. So a specific order that deals with who lives with the children and where. So in the UK, it's called a specific issue order. You go to the court to say, I want to migrate with the children to Australia. Because we're not in agreement, can the court make a decision and make an order? So similarly, if they're in Zimbabwe, you can go to the court for the court to make a decision. Wherever there's a dispute and parents are not agreeing, where parents are not agreeing on something, you can get a third party, a judge, to make that decision. And that order for the judge is evidence enough. So it's not just getting guardianship, it's not just getting custody. It's about the specific issue of, can the children leave Zimbabwe and go and live with their mother in another country, in England? And can this order be made specifically for the entry clearance officer to use it as compassionate circumstances or as consent as a reason where there's a dispute? So the father will say, I don't want my kids to go there because there's knife crime and there's gangs. And I don't want. And mom will say, no, it's in their best interest to be with me. You're not there for them. He'll say, fine, I'll look after them. So you can have that type of tug of war. So where you don't agree, you then need to get a court to make that decision for you. So that is the best way to do it. And if there's a disagreement, because if you take them and cheat him, you can be tricky, isn't it? People can be tricky and forges. People do all sorts, but you can be reported for child abduction. Because if you take a child out of the jurisdiction without the consent of the other parent, where they've said you mustn't take them, and you do it by force, they can report you to the police. So it's very important not to abduct children, not to just do what you want, but to do things lawfully. So thank you for that question. And I think that is a topic for a whole 30 minutes on its own, because it seems to be a big issue. Migration and children, it's a big issue. Where do children live? What is in their best interest? Is it in their best interest to live here in England? Or is it in their best interest to stay in Zimbabwe in boarding? I think it's always good for children to be with their parents. That's my own opinion. But there's a lot of challenges. There's a lot of weighing out of things and making decisions. It's not a one size fits all, but it's important. And one of the things that the Home Office say, when parents have made a decision to come here and they've left a child who's 18 or 19, then they're applying saying, oh, we want them to come to the others and, you know, they can't be alone. The Home Office says you made a decision to move. So you knew that your child was over 18, but you decided that you're going to live there and work there. So you've got to deal with the consequences. It sounds very harsh, but I think those are conversations that people need to have when they're making those decisions. What are the plans for this child? Because they're most likely not going to be able to get a visa. What are we going to do about this? What are we going to do about that? When you're looking for that new job or new opportunity in another country. So there's a lot of options that people have and a lot of things that are at play. So I hope that's been useful for you and that has been helpful. Thank you so much. Everybody who has joined. If you're just joining now, please watch this on replay. And also you can go onto our website on tulia.org.uk, where we've got old videos with some of the other issues that we've answered. Also, we've got some short videos on YouTube covering some of the other key questions that you have, and hope you're able to get that information. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful weekend, and thanks for joining me today. Be blessed and take care. See you next week, Friday.